Welcome to part two of the Star Wars and The Last Jedi special. If you haven't watched part one, there is a link in the description below. We recommend that you go listen/watch that first and then come back to this one.
Partly why Last Jedi fails for me is it could be rooted back to the very beginning with the Force Awakens, where I don't like any of the characters really. I didn't like how Force Awakens was pretty much a reboot of New Hope, and so I just don't like the retread of. And I know the jokes where it's like, we get established and we're fans of Star Wars from 4, 5, and 6, and then we see 1, 2, and 3, and so the joke is
Which we
like,
grew up with, by the way.
yeah, we grew
We're
up with.
very fond of the prequels, even though we think the originals are better.
So people will laugh at Star Wars fans because they're like, we want more Star Wars. Oh, that's too different. Referring to the prequels, that's too different. We want more of the same of the old Star Wars, and then we get the sequel trilogy. Oh, sorry, that's too much like the old Star Wars. It's like we can't make up our mind.
It's like too hot, too cold, just
yeah,
right.
exactly.
Like, where is it?
Yeah, where are we? And the thing is that's partly why I think for me and Last Jedi especially fails for me as a Star Wars fan, because it's just stuff we've seen before. I kind of give Force Awakens a pass because it had to do so much. It had to get a new fan base. It had to, reinvigorate the old fan base that was somewhat hurt from the prequels. I'm not speaking for myself, but I know there's the old school fans that love that do not like the prequels, and so they had to do so much. And they had to bring it back, and so they did a good job. They made a lot of money for that, but I was hoping by the time I was like, okay, Last Jedi is going to be the one that breaks ground. That's what I was like. Last Jedi is going to be the new Empire Strikes Back, Like I was like, this is going to unite everyone.
I agree. In fact, when I first saw The Force Awakens in theaters, I didn't like it. It's kind of funny because that one I didn't like, and then The Last Jedi I did like in theaters, and then now it's been completely swapped. Like after The Last Jedi, after The Force Awakens came out in theaters, and I was able to watch it a couple times, I actually started liking it, and I could appreciate it for what it is. And what it is, it's a really good setup movie for two more movies. Like they did a really good job setting up and also keeping it relatively fun to watch. It is an adventure movie. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot that they did that I didn't like, and I don't like that it was a lot like A New Hope as well. But they actually did a lot of things that were very different as well. I mean, they set up with a whole Force vision. They set up with a huge thing with Rey. They showed the Knights of Ren, which is like going to be legit and might still be, but I kind of think it's been bagged now, unfortunately. And they actually set up a lot of things that could have been paid off in The Last Jedi or even Episode 9, and some of them still could probably, but The Last Jedi was probably going to be, hopefully was going to, but unfortunately didn't do a lot to improve The Force Awakens. So there was a lot that they did that was actually really, really good, but there was a lot that they did that was just kind of mediocre.
What I'd give to get my hands on J.J. Abrams' script for the second,
Oh my goodness,
for the Episode 8.
we will
Because
that
I
never
heard
see the light
that
of
he
day.
did have a script and he had all. I would have loved to see that because
I can imagine that he had a copy on it on his personal computer at home, and like Disney troopers came in,
yeah,
dressed up like the First Order, and stole his computer.
stole it. Yeah, it's like no more for me.
You can't
I
have that.
like what I think the direction of Star Wars should have been would be more like the EU, which in the EU they had a whole problem with, and this would have been totally different because I've noticed there's a pattern with Star Wars. There's the very first one being the 4, 5, and 6, the very first ones they released, and they were the Civil War. It was the Dark Ages, so to speak, for Star Wars. And then with the prequels, it was the Renaissance era, where everything was nice and good looking, and then the next batch. So this sequel trilogy really should have been another Renaissance area but all again they skip a Renaissance area and they go straight to the medieval times again. And so they kind of messed that up. But what I think they should have had was show some peacetime, show some of the stuff that they were fighting for actually come to fruition. Because I feel like 4, 5, and 6 is almost like the victories in that movie is almost meaningless to go right back to 4, 5, and 6 again. Like we jump, and I know they had to make a jump in age because they're 30 years older than they were before. But I think it would have been cool to have them have remnants of the Empire. Okay, first of all, keep their names, Rebels and the Empire. Who cares about new names? You know. And anyway,
Also, the First Order. What kind of a name is that?
yeah, they're not the First Order.
I mean, were they the First Order? Have they just been like in hiding forever?
Yeah,
literally?
technically the First Order is whatever.
I don't. It's just this doesn't make any. It's just.
I'm
It's just a
guessing I
dumb
can
name.
see what maybe they would call it that, and this is probably in a book somewhere that I don't know about. But maybe they're called the First Order because we're going back to the Empire where that was the First Order in their mind. Whatever.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway.
The Empire literally just fell, but it's not yet completely gone.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
would it? I don't know. It just
So-
doesn't make sense. Even like Resistance and Rebellion, like they're rebels. Like they're rebelling against the First Order.
Mhm.
They're not like just resisting the First. I don't know. That's just weird.
Yeah.
Sorry. Carry on.
I think it should have been. They should have had. So the Yuuzhan Vong in the books is this like alien race. They can change the name, whatever, but that we're so obsessed with everything being organic, and they're just appalled by people who use technology. So they're almost like the Amish of space. Just kidding, I don't know, but they come to each galaxy, purifying that galaxy of electronics, of technology. So they make it to our beloved galaxy far, far away, but they don't anticipate running into Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Chewbacca,
Wait,
Princess
is this
Leia.
EU or is this your own?
No,
your
this
own-
is EU. This is
Okay.
the EU.
Whoa.
So
It's kind of interesting.
it's cool. Yeah, it's awesome. Where and then in the EU, Chewbacca is killed by a moon. I mean, that's epic. Anyway, that's besides the point.
What?
But what they should have done is have they should have kind of kept that. They don't have to exactly go off that, but kind of go off that because the threat is so huge that the remnants of the Empire and the New Order, I believe, not the New Order. Anyway, I keep
You're
wanting
back
to
to the
keep
New
going
Order.
New Order. Maybe that's what they were
Everything's
called.
the New Order. Everything's
everything's
the New Order.
Oh, the old. Anyway, the New Republic, New Reformed Republic.
I think it actually is the New Republic.
The New Republic. The New Republic. That's what I was thinking.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
That's why I keep saying I mixed New Order, First Order, New Republic. So the New Republic in the EU has this. They team up to fight this greater evil, and that would have been different than anything we've seen in 1 through 6 already. And of course, you have like the Solo twins and then one of those go bad. And so it's kind of cool. It's like kind of poetic that things so I think I think that would have been a better route. Of course, they can flesh it out more, have some more creative liberties, but something along the lines, not a rehash of 4, 5, and 6. I guess so far 4 and 5. But Last Jedi had like a mixture of Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back in that.
Well, I kind of feel like this is going to have a little bit of a mixture too, because I don't know if you heard, but there's a theory going around that this next Star Wars movie is going to be playing with time travel. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I heard. I heard it's called Flash something, not Flashback, but Flashpoint. Yeah, Flashpoint. I think that's what it's called. Some new Jedi power that's coming out of nowhere. But the fight is so. So this is supposed to be the last. This is supposed to be the lightsaber battle, end all lightsaber battles, because it's the last of the Skywalker saga. It's supposed to be awesome, right? So I guess they're clashing. They fight so hard that maybe this is partly my theory of they travel through time, so to speak. So it's almost like if anyone has seen Jumper, I'm guessing the fight in Jumper, where when they're fighting each other, they're teleporting around the world, and which I thought that was a pretty cool scene in Jumper. So, and I heard that They're
That
gonna
was,
be
but that one actually makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like one of the fights. So they'll go all to the landmarks of all the old Star Wars, probably the first 6 Star Wars. So I know for sure. I think they're fighting on the Yavin 4, where episode 4, where that planet that their Death Star was trying to blow up. They're gonna be fighting on one of those pyramid type areas. So a lot like the fight in, if anyone remembers the very first 2002 Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon, where Anakin fights Asa Ventress on one of those pyramids. I believe that was Yavin 4, but anyway, they were that. I think guessing that's what the fight's going to be like. So they're going to be like fighting so hard that they're like teleporting through time, or at least not through time, maybe teleporting to different landmarks that are still around.
So teleporting like through space instead of time.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just seems, man, I just really hope they don't do that, because there was some people, I can't even remember. I should really bring up the article or something, but and they had this theory that they're going to do some time travel, and that's how Sidious is actually going to come back. And there's possibility that Luke might come back through that as well, that Yoda might come back through that as well. And it's like, please don't do that, because it's not right. And also, why do they keep throwing in all these Force abilities?
That sounds like Endgame to me.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
That's what they were comparing it to.
Copying Endgame. That's weird.
That's basically what they were saying. Yeah, they're gonna basically pull an Endgame, just do that, but in a way to like restart or refresh or wipe clean everything instead of bring everything back. But it just, I don't know. It just sounds so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually, now that you mention it, because I didn't realize this or I forgot about it until just now. But I'm really tired of all of the new Force abilities. I mean, some of them are really cool, but like they're coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, where did this come from?
It's like, I don't know, like, because we didn't really see that many new Force abilities in all the other ones. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was the original, which introduced Force abilities. That's one thing. But even in the prequels, we didn't get that many new ones.
What I would have liked, if they were going to, I wished Disney Star Wars would have been. Yes, I know they get a lot of inspiration. Pretty much all their inspiration for 4, 5, and 6, right? I wish that I know that prequels have a bad reputation, but I wish they took at least some of the good parts from the prequels in their mind, some of the good parts, because I think there was a lot of good parts. But I wish they took some of the elements from the prequels and mixed it. I wish there was a mix of prequels and classic trilogy to help make this new trilogy. Because right now I feel like they're just copying everything right down, like they're just trying to be like the old ones so bad that I feel like there's so many, like the set dressing, the worlds, the costuming of the prequels, and then the choreography of the prequels, like of lightsaber battles. I wish they at least took some of that and put it into this new Star Wars, because these are the worst lightsaber battles I've ever seen, or in this.
I would say we haven't even gotten an official lightsaber battle yet, because it's just not
True,
a fair
yeah.
thing. In the Force Awakens, I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Rey wins, and that she's absolutely good at everything, and that she's amazing and perfect, and that she uses the Force perfectly with that zero explanation. Had they had an explanation, if they were going to give an explanation, and if they do in this 9th one, it's too late. They should have given an explanation in the first one. Why did Han recognize her? What's going on with her? Where did she come from? Are her parents actually just garbage, basically? Like, what is going on? And we get nothing. And so it's just all of these abilities that she has, she didn't earn them. She just has them. All these things she can do, she didn't earn them. She just can do them. And that's what makes her a crappy character. She doesn't earn it.
Mary Sue.
I can go off onto a Captain Marvel rant right now, actually, on this same topic if I really wanted to.
I feel like the only reason why she's good at all this is because she is a woman.
Well, here's the problem with all of these characters that are coming about right now that are women characters. So I'm going to talk about Captain Marvel because it's a little bit easier to compare Marvel to Marvel than Disney to Marvel. Or sorry, Star Wars to Marvel. Disney to Marvel. It's the same thing now. Anyways, so Captain Marvel, that was just, it was a garbage movie. I just didn't like it at all. And she actually has, or could have had, a very similar story as Thor. At the time when Thor was released, the movie, the character Thor, not in our world, but in Marvel's universe, was like 1,000 years old. Okay. And he is like he's full of it. Like he's very prideful. He's cocky. Like he thinks he's everything. And he's really good at what he can do. I mean, granted, he's had 1,000 years to learn how to do it.
I think you would be cocky too if you were 1,000 years old and
I mean,
been
like,
that good for that long.
and you're royal. I mean, royalty in general, like they have a history in our history of not being the best people. So he is royal. He is in everything he has. He
Pompous?
also basically didn't earn.
Yeah.
But that whole movie, the whole Thor movie, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's actually really good. Is Thor getting all of his powers and all of his glory stripped from him and him having to earn it back. And he does. And that's what makes him a good character. And that's why we still have Thor around today, is because he's actually something real, something that he's earned all that he has. Captain Marvel did not do this. She had her abilities, but wait a second. She had her abilities, but they were being toned down. They were being monitored or governed, if you will, like a governor on a car or a governed thing. I don't know cars that well, but I know that a governor on a car basically makes it so that you can't go as fast as you would be able to if it wasn't on there. I think if that's not how it works, then my bad. But that's basically what's happening to her. If you haven't seen the movie, is she has like this device on her neck, right behind her ear, that doesn't allow her to use her powers to her fullest extent. Well, spoiler, by the end of the movie, that's gone. How does she get it? She uses her powers to zap it away, basically. And then she has full whatever of her powers, and she can use them completely, even though she never has. And she knows how to fly. She knows how to do all this stuff. And even though she never did it before. And all of a sudden, she's like perfect. But she didn't earn any of that. Technically, she didn't even earn her abilities in the first place. A bomb exploded. She happened to be near it. Whoops. Right place, right time, or wrong place, wrong time. I don't know. One of the two. And so like she did not earn a single thing that she has. And that's one of the problems. And again, back to Rey. She doesn't earn anything. And that's one of the problems with this new Star Wars trilogy that Disney's making, is nobody's earning anything. Nobody's earning anything. The little kid at the end of the Last Jedi who uses the Force to like pull the broom. Yeah, he's in a crappy situation. Yeah, he's a slave. And that totally sucks. But he didn't train to use the Force. He didn't earn that ability to force pull the broom towards him.
Let's go back to Empire. Remember how much of a struggle that was for Luke in the cave, that Wampa cave?
Yep.
To force grab that lightsaber. He had everything he had in a near-death situation.
He was trained by Yoda.
Yeah.
Or he hadn't been yet.
Not
Had he?
that-
No,
not
not
at
yet.
that
Not
point.
yet. Sorry,
Obi-Wan.
my bad. I jumped forward. He trained by
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah. And still had a whole movie under his belt and still had a hard time with that. And again, we are not women haters. We just, we don't like people being handed things and
We don't like crappy characters.
we don't like crappy characters. That's partly why Superman's been hard to relate to
I don't like
lately.
Superman.
Because he's already super. He's already got everything. And that's why a lot of people that's why I gravitate more to Batman than Superman.
And that's funny because Batman, he's a rich guy. He actually has a lot too. But the problem is that he has a lot of trauma in his life. Actually, it's not even a problem. The thing is that he has a lot of trauma in his life, which a lot of people can relate with. Because
Superman does do. His whole planet blew up.
I know, but he's
still,
just so
it's
happy-go-lucky.
with his
like,
power.
He's just so strong, so
Yeah.
powerful, and it doesn't seem to
You can't relate to him. That's
it doesn't
the problem.
affect him at all. Like Batman's trauma affects him more than Superman's trauma.
Yeah, true. Maybe they need to show that off more, and that would help Superman.
But then he wouldn't be a perfect godlike being. So then
Yeah.
it kind of defeats the purpose of Superman. Just reinvent him.
Yeah. The thing is that we just like people earning their
Sorry,
due.
hold on. So we're actually watching The Last Jedi right now, on mute, and yeah, I just noticed how funny this was. But it's this moment between Rey and Kylo when they're like force pulling the lightsaber, and then it cuts to General Holdo, and she's just like staring right into the camera as if she's watching them force pull the lightsaber towards. It's just super funny. I don't know why that was so funny, but it was like, what's going on?
Oh, and then the super controversial Lightspeed kamikaze. That's what I call that.
Yeah.
Oh man,
One of the things
where did that come from?
the thing that bugs me about this is that you did it wrong if everything that you do after this movie is to try and justify everything you did in this movie. You did it wrong. Like, oh no. Did we miss we haven't missed the BB-8 scene yet where he's in one of those little chicken walkers. Oh, that's so cheesy.
I think Rian Johnson needs to do the commentary again, because the commentary he did for this movie was before it came out. I think that should be a rule in general. Do the commentary after the movie's released and after
It's not like you don't have time.
Yeah.
And once the movie's released, you're done.
Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't make sense, because a lot of my favorite commentaries I've listened to, mostly just Star Wars commentaries, but these were years after they were released. So they have plenty of stories and plenty of things to talk about. But
there's BB-8 in the chicken
the
walker.
whole time, the whole commentary, and also more than one person, please, in the commentary.
Should be a round table.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, with all the creatives talking, or not. It doesn't have to be all of them, but like at least more than one person. And because the commentary for this is probably the worst commentary I've ever seen. He's by himself, tooting his own horn, and this is before it even came out. And yeah,
it's actually kind of awkward to listen to and watch. But it's just weird. We should watch it again sometime.
Yeah, just to laugh at it.
So bad. This movie is just absolutely terrible. We're watching the fight right now between Finn and Captain Phasma, who should have been awesome, and that fight should have been awesome, but it wasn't. It was pathetic.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they're going to bring Captain Phasma back in episode 9?
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, but her suit can absorb the fall. It's like Captain America's shield, but around her entire body.
Yeah. They'll write something like that.
Maybe it is Captain America's shield.
Almost kind of hope. Yeah, exactly. It's vibranium. It's made out of vibranium.
No. Or adamantium for the comic book people, because isn't it adamantium in the comic books? Or am I wrong on that? I might be wrong on that. I'm not a comic book fan that much. I haven't read them. I'm not against them. I just never really got into them. But I think it was adamantium, but they called it vibranium in the MCU because of the copyright issues with Fox.
Okay, yeah. I
think that's what it was.
I can see that works. I can see that. No, I don't like the light. So the Lightspeed kamikaze bit is another part. There's another reason why this movie doesn't work, is that Rian Johnson doesn't know the concept of Lightspeed, because Lightspeed, it's almost like he thinks Lightspeed is Star Wars NOS, and it's not. It's actually going so fast. It's actually going into another dimension. You're traveling.
It's a wormhole.
Through wormholes. Yeah, exactly.
If you take a piece of paper and don't actually crease it in the middle, but take the two ends and put them together and pinch them with one hand, and then you take a pencil and poke it through the piece of paper, that's what it is. So it's not. You're traveling from one area to another area. Mm-hmm. It's not instantaneous like it probably actually should be if you really think about it, but it is a wormhole, so it's in a different reality.
That is how they don't run into planets. That's how if you're going that quick, even a little pebble in space can go through your whole ship and kill you. So Rian Johnson thinks Lightspeed is going really fast, and that's why he was able to do a Lightspeed and hit that ship and destroy it. But
which, granted, you probably are moving incredibly quick, but that's not how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said,
quick you're able to phase through it pretty much. Although maybe his argument is it's just at the beginnings of Lightspeed, so
she was pretty far away though.
Yeah.
She was really far away from those ships, and she destroyed like all of them except for like maybe 5. But there's a moment in
cool visual though. That was
very cool visual. There's actually a lot of cool visuals in this, I think, even though the CGI isn't amazing. Like the whole like Leia Poppins, that was really controversy. Like I actually think that scene's really beautiful. Does not fit in the movie and doesn't make sense.
I almost forgot about that.
I know was it too. And so
that's another problem with this movie.
It's just stuff that just doesn't make sense. Like
Leia had never used her powers. Again, a person who's not earned. It's almost like earning the right to do it, but like earning the ability to do it. These people have not. They just everyone, and I feel like what they're trying to do is make a yin and yang concept. So there's that like, darkness rises and light to meet it. And I think in this Star Wars, they're changing how force ability works. And so it's like when one adversary grows in power, the equal will grow as well to balance it. That's like the whole thing with this. I think that's trying to allude to
then why did they need Anakin Skywalker to balance the Force? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that's like a mode, like a way to balance the Force, but it just doesn't make sense.
It's never been that way through 1 through 6, so I don't know why they're changing it now.
They've
I
changed
don't
a lot
like.
of things.
Yeah, I don't like how.
I'm actually okay with one change that they made, that they didn't ever fully explore, I'll say, in the originals or in the prequels. Basically, just not on the big screen at all. Is the idea that the Force in itself is like kind of like a consciousness. It's a thing. It is sort of alive in a way, and I kind of actually like that. In a sort of,
Mhm.
I sort of like it. It's very similar to like the idea of like energy combines us and like binds us together and
surrounds us.
surrounds us and can like motivate us to actually do things.
Hmm. I do like the interrogation scene
That's pretty cool.
with because that's happened before. That happened in Clone Wars, and so I do like that. I do like Kylo Ren stopping the blaster in midair. I thought that was way cool. So in the very beginning of Force Awakens, what I
Hey, dude,
actually
we've been recording for like an hour.
oh really?
Yeah.
I hope to see in the next one Kylo Ren stopping it in midair and then force pulling someone through it. That would have been so cool. That would be
That's what they did in, I think, the new Star Wars video game. But we're actually going to pause right here, and this is going to be the end of part 2. Part 3 will be available in 1 week. If it's already been more than a week, it is linked in the description below. Thank you guys for listening, and we hope you enjoyed.